ZocDoc is a free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We're talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. Sorry, specialists is a very hard word for me to say, but you can find top-rated doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat almost any condition under the sun that you are searching for. Go to ZocDoc.com/BCC and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/BCC. ZocDoc.com/BCC.
Welcome to the chain. Welcome to another episode of the BCC Club. We're your hosts. I'm Kendahl.
And I'm Sarah Shower. And each week we talk about a weird part of the internet or something that's popped off on the internet. And what are we talking about this week?
This week we're talking about the Westboro Baptist Church.
Dun, dun, dun. So they do exist outside the internet, but they've gone viral several times.
Yeah, they're from Topeka, Kansas.
Really?
They're from Topeka, Kansas. Yes, they are.
Wow.
They are a family who is very homophobic.
It's a large family.
It's a big family. At this point, probably 70 people. They own a compound, and their church is primarily their family, except one guy, which we'll talk about later. You may have seen them on the internet holding signs that say, God hates gays, and most of the time it's worded in a much more offensive way. Mm-hmm. We're just going to say God hates gays on today's podcast episode. They are nuts.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about them today. But before we get into that, Sarah, how was your week?
My week was pretty good. I am starting this little Lego series on my YouTube channel where I talk to people and build Legos with them, and Kendahl agreed to be on.
Woohoo! How was my list?
Okay, so I've sent people like a interest list. So like I can shop for a Lego set that's, they would be interested in talking about. Your list is absolutely perfect. The only thing that absolutely sucks, and this is not like against you, all your interests I can link them to a set, but the set is massive.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God. But if we were to talk and build, it would take us 15 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of a set that you would like that would be smaller, because I can think of a million sets you would like.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then first episode of that is going out this week.
Oh my God, who's on it, if you don't mind sharing?
Lindsay, she does animal content.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah. I told her to start YouTube last year. And when I interviewed her for the Lego thing, I said, congrats on 800,000. And she said, actually, it's 900,000.
Oh!
And she does incredible animal facts. I was like, I told you that, because she's on TikTok, and I was like, you would thrive with long form content.
Yeah.
Because she's doing talking about specific animals, and I was like, yes. And then it just blew up, and rightfully so. And then my second guest, her name is Cheney, but she goes by Cray.
Okay.
And she's a singer, and I got you, and then Sam Reich.
Great.
And then Damian Haas is coming on from Smosh.
Oh, amazing.
It's all people who have expressed very specific interests that I can...
All neurodivergent people.
Yeah, or people who have interests where I could easily connect them to Legos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... Since Lindsay loves animals, a lot of Lego sets.
Totally.
Cheney loves Legos in general. You have so many... You are neurodivergent. Welcome aboard. And then Sam and Damien both have very specific interests that I could easily link to Lego sets.
Yeah.
And I'm just building out the list.
It made me laugh because I was writing this list and I was like, this is the same list an 8-year-old boy would send. So,
which is great.
I was like, dinosaurs, sharks, dogs. I don't even remember what else I put.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so funny that these are my interests.
Yeah.
What else was it? I want to look it up. It was like...
No, but it was perfect. It was this, if the younger you appear, the more I can shop for you.
Yes. I really do want to pull this list up. I'm sorry. Okay, the list of interests I gave was dinosaurs, sharks, dogs, sushi as an interest. Very interesting. The Office, Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park. I said there could be
a
dinosaurs
distinction, yeah.
and Jurassic Park. Very different.
But there actually are.
30 Rock, Animal Crossing, and I put swimming as an interest.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I did want it to be a lot of people were like, well, should I do watching TV? And honestly, yeah, just go into, because there are sets that are very mundane. Whether it be a couch, I mean, there's not a couch set, but it's something where if I'm on the couch a lot, I could find something that relates to that.
I feel like they have everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of like croc gibbets, where you could just find any You search any word.
Oh, yeah,
It's a crock chip. I was telling my girlfriend last night, this is kind of different, but just in terms of there being so much of something.
Yeah.
I was cleaning my dishwasher, which I don't know if you do this, but you should do it every 30 days. You clean out the filter in your dishwasher. It's disgusting. You take it out. It's the first time I'd done it. It's covered in food.
Yeah.
It's the scariest thing I've ever seen. Anyways, I was doing that, and I looked up, like, oh, how do I clean a dishwasher? How do I clean this exact dishwasher?
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to burp.
Ew. Ew. Oh.
It's not coming out. Okay. Okay, are you okay?
Yeah.
It's coming out. I did it, kind of. I, like, swallowed it.
Why do they, like, gross you out so much?
I don't know. It doesn't, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe it comes from having siblings.
Or
because,
also, you say that you're, like, a big vomiter. Maybe, does it, like, remind you of vomiting?
No, because I don't mind vomiting.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be embarrassed to vomit in front of you. I'm embarrassed to burp in front of you, which is so bizarre. I think maybe, like, as a kid, I struggled a lot with germophobia when I was a child. And I still have sometimes struggled with it. But I had, like, severe OCD as a kid and heavy, intense germophobia. So I had, like, my own silverware. I would, like, cry at the dinner table if someone burped. Even if they were, like, 6 feet away from me. I would, like, have a full panic attack and start, like, hyperventilating and crying.
Interesting.
I was a little nutso. And sometimes my siblings would, like, burp in my face, you know, because, like, siblings do that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it was always, like, really traumatic for me. Like, they would, like, do it, and I think I would be like, stop! And they would be kind of like, yeah, because that's what everyone says when you burp in their face.
Yeah.
But I would be like, no, I actually want to rip my skin off now.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? But I've gotten better about it similar. But I don't care when other people burp. I just, like, feel so embarrassed when I do it, which is so weird.
Interesting.
It's not weird. I really feel embarrassment.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like when you burp or anyone else burps, I don't think anything. Like, I don't care at all.
I don't think anything.
I don't think anything in general. When I burp, I'm like, oh my God, I'm shy.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was it? Oh, I searched this video about cleaning this is so stupid. I don't even know how this really relates, but I searched this video. I was like, how do you clean this specific dishwasher? And there's like 18 videos from people cleaning this exact dishwasher that have like 2 likes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's just so insane how much information is on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
You can literally search any specific thing and there's a full tutorial, a nice tutorial on it by someone who's like, I'm not doing this for views. I just wanted to put this out there. I'm like, incredible.
And that's what content creation is all about. Just creating something that you're happy with. And if someone else happens to like it, then hell yeah, brother.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. How was your week?
It was good. I'm really excited to be on your show. I feel like I've always thought that I would get really into Legos if I started because I love building like IKEA furniture.
Yeah.
Which feels crazy because that's not something famously anyone likes doing.
Yeah.
But I do. I like it. I think it's really relaxing. I like turning on a show and just like this is all I'm focusing on.
Yeah.
And I'm just like thinking and my brain feels stimulated, but I'm also like not overstimulated. It's like nice. Mm-hmm. So I think I've always said I'd like Legos.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm really excited to have you on and surprise you with the set. It is, I know that with how we talk right now, that it's going to be, I'm going to get you the smallest possible set. I'm going to get you probably a normal size set that you can just take home so you can have like fun. But for the talking set,
it's going to be like just a person that's already built, like one of the Lego people.
But
you
it manages
just, like,
to take us
to
3 hours. I've already asked you 70 questions. The thing is what's going to be hard about interviewing you is that I know the answers to it.
Yeah.
Most of it. So I'm like, Kendahl, what do you do in the mornings? Well, I've actually just tried waking up early. And I'm like, okay, I might have, yeah.
You're like, what do you do for work? I'm like, well, I've got a podcast. You have to pretend not to know what it is. You know who would be an insane person to have on your show?
Who?
The owner and creator of the Westboro Baptist Church.
Well, I don't even know if there's a church Lego set.
You don't think they've made their own?
They probably have.
Yeah, they're very obsessed with themselves. What I'll tell you about. I wouldn't be surprised if the Westboro Baptist Church had a Lego set because they're very DIY. Mm-hmm. They're DIY kings. That's what I'll say.
Yeah,
they have a whole room in their church dedicated to making crafts for the Westboro Baptist Church. They make their own music videos. They are definitely their
production.
You got to give them that.
Yeah,
they're Renaissance men, all of them. Today we're talking about the Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah. They are homophobic, anti-Semitic hate group that regularly stages protests around the country, often several times a week. They're based in Topeka, Kansas. They were founded in 1955 by Fred Waldron Phelps, who served as a pastor for many years after, and he died in 2014. His extended family was believed to make most of the membership, and then in 2016, Forbes stated that they had about 70 members. It's mainly Phelps' extended family, but they're known for their song God's Hates, F-slur, but we're going to say gays. And Kendahl, what do they do exactly?
So this group pickets institutions and individuals they think support homosexuality or otherwise subvert what they believe is God's law. And what I think is very important to say about the Westboro Baptist Church is that, and they would say this themselves, they don't just believe gay people are gay. They believe anyone who basically is not them is gay, because if you support the gay agenda, you might as well be gay, because who cares? It's all the same. There's a quote from the mom. She's 11 kids. She's kind of taken over for Phelps when it comes to like dealing with all the
homophobia and anti-Semitism.
Dealing with all the homophobia and anti-Semitism. She said in an interview, she was like, it's not just people who take it up the tailpipe.
Yeah.
It's every person. She's talking to the interviewer, you're a gay person, everyone, because it's just, if you're not in that church, every person who is not in their family is going straight to hell.
Yeah.
And it's not just people who are religious. It's anyone, to be clear, outside of their family. So they're not just homophobic. They hate everyone.
Yeah. And I would say if I've found out anything about anyone who shames someone else for their sex life and has 11 kids, they're doing something inexplicably perverse in their home. Yes. And so they picket all sorts of things that you would be like, that's a bizarre thing to picket. Yeah.
So the Westboro Baptist Church carries out daily picketing in Topeka and travels nationally to picket the funerals of gay victims or of gay victims of murder or gay bashing, as well as those of people who have died from complications related to AIDS. They also, picket funerals of people who were in a war, people who were just normal. They picket every single person. Like, I can't express that enough.
Yeah.
Westboro Baptist Church also engages in hate speech against atheists, Jews, Muslims, transgender people, and even the other Christian denominations. Now, this next part is, my favorite part of the Westboro Baptist Church, and I only have one favorite thing because they're pretty terrible, but they do release parody songs, and I discovered this in high school, and I was obsessed with it. I would spend hours listening to their parody songs. It's on their website. You go to parodies. It's insane. There's probably 500 parodies they've professionally recorded, edited, and written, and all sang in. They're pretty good singers. To every popular song. I can't even imagine, because this was 5 years ago, and it was all very updated music, like new top 100 pop music. So I'm sure they're continuing to release music. They did, for example, Poker Face by Lady Gaga. Do you want me to play it for you?
No. I don't want to give them any sort of cash.
I don't know if they get cash from it, but
any sort of AdSense.
Any AdSense.
Today's episode is sponsored by ZocDoc. I love talking about ZocDoc because I'm obsessed with ZocDoc. I have had so much trouble finding doctors in the past. One time I had a doctor print out a Wikipedia page to explain to me an illness I had. I truly am constantly flabbergasted by people who say they're doctors and who own a doctor's office. And I'm like, there's no way that you have credentials to be doing this. You seem like you have absolutely no idea what is happening. And that's why I am obsessed with ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app where you can find amazing doctors and book appointments online. We're talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. Sorry, specialists is a very hard word for me to say, but you can find top-rated doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat almost any condition under the sun that you are searching for. These docs all have verified reviews from actual real patients, not bots. It's so comforting when you're going into an appointment with something weird on your foot and you can look at a review of a woman named Janelle being like, this man treated my feet with more care than my husband. I'm like, Janelle, sign me up. The average wait time to see a doctor booked on ZocDoc is between just 24 to 48 hours. That's it. That is truly amazing. Sometimes I have something happening to my body where I'm like, well, this could be life or death. I don't know what's going on. And the next available appointment for a doctor is in like 6 years. And I'm like, well, I'll probably be dead by then, but not with ZocDoc. you can get an appointment within 24 to 48 hours. I use ZocDoc, and honestly, it has improved my quality of life and my health so much and has made taking care of myself so much easier. Go to ZocDoc.com/BCC and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/BCC. ZocDoc.com/BCC.
Don't you wish you could automate some things in your life, like laundry, dishes? When your cat decides to meow in the morning and at night, you set the automatic feeder for 4 a.m., 10 p.m., just to give him a little nibble, so, to hold him over. But then he decides to keep meowing after eating, and you have to pet him until he goes to sleep, and it's just like a whole cycle, like every morning and night, and now your sleep schedule is non-existent. So I wish I could automate him, because we live in an increasingly automated world. But some things, and cats, still require tedious manual work and love. Luckily for e-commerce business owners, shipping is no longer a manual task thanks to ShipStation. Save time automating your shipping and returns in the ShipStation dashboard while keeping costs down with industry-leading discounts. And believe you me, this dashboard is incredibly easy to navigate. I'm looking at it right now. So if you make and sell trinkets, listen up. On this dashboard, you can import orders, manage shipping, print discounted postage, and instantly update tracking. That's just like a couple things. So now is the best time, if you've been on the fence, to start your free trial and do a quick setup. And listen to this. You can access shipping discounts of up to 84% with UPS and USPS. And then you can, on top of that, compare rates from top carriers and print labels individually. I cannot recommend it enough. What are we still doing? ShipStation makes it easy to automate shipping tasks for orders from every marketplace in one dashboard. Effortless integration everywhere you sell online, including Amazon, Etsy, eBay, Shopify, and more. Oh, I shop there. Manage every order from one simple dashboard, print shipping labels, easily compare rates and delivery times to optimize every shipment, and automate delivery notifications. And with enterprise solutions, that makes warehouse optimization easy. ShipStation scales when you do. So if you scale up or down, depends on your 5 to 10 year plans. ShipStation will scale with you. And they have industry-leading discounts, like I said, 84% off USPS and UPS rates. There are over 130,000 companies have grown their e-commerce businesses with ShipStation, and 98% of companies that stick with ShipStation for a year become customers for life. So spend more time growing your business when you automate shipping tasks with ShipStation. Go to ShipStation.com and use code BCC today and sign up for your free 60-day trial. That's ShipStation.com, code BCC.
Anyways, they make all these music videos.
Yeah.
And they're highly, the production quality is large. That's what I'd say.
I don't understand how they have the time. Like, where does their income come from? I mean, I guess if Kendahl and others are watching the videos,
mostly me. I donate every year.
hundreds of like watch hours, but like they have time to like put together a sermon every week. Travel, like they protest funerals. I'm sure there's a lot.
Well, they're all lawyers.
What?
This is what I think is so wild about the Westboro Baptist Church, which I also think is, honestly, because you can't just say, well, they're all dumb. Because they're not. I mean, it's like you've talked about with your parents before. You're like, these are the smartest people I know. Exactly. And so I think it's so easy to just be like, well, they're idiots. They're not. And like one of the ex-members who is the daughter who's in the documentary about Westboro Baptist Church, and it's fascinating because she is very in it at that time.
Yeah.
She's since left, and she's kind of dedicated her life to basically like apologizing and also doing a lot of speeches on like cults and being raised in a cult. And she has a book, and she's the best. But she was like, my parents are incredibly smart. Mm-hmm. My family, they're all lawyers and like good lawyers, and they're all educated, and they all went to college, and everyone in the Westboro Baptist Church goes to public school. That's also a crazy. They're not homeschooled.
Yeah,
they go to public school. They all go to public college or regular college or wherever. But they're constantly they're seeing the outside world. It's not just like, oh, these are a bunch of idiots who've been sheltered. It's truly showing how powerful brainwashing is.
Yeah,
like if you can brainwash, you can't not be brainwashed just because you're really smart. And I don't know. I'm not saying all lawyers are really smart by any means.
Yeah.
But this is a group of educated people. Like, these people have read books and know what they're talking about. And so they have money from being lawyers, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I like, it's like, how would I divide a lot of Republicans? Like, they're into like two. There's like Trump Republicans where they're just fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And then there's like the people who are like deeply selfish and they're like more, I guess, like successful, where they care more about their money and themselves, and that dictates their voting.
Yeah.
They're both bigoted in one form, but so if they're like, I would, this makes sense. Yeah. But this is crazy. I mean, they're well-educated people, so that shows that like it's truly just evil. Like, it goes beyond bigotry in that it's like very. It's not even like unconscious. Well, obviously, it's very conscious bigotry. Yeah.
But I mean, they sense, because it's their family. These are not people, besides a few who we will talk about later, because it's insane to me. There are a few people who, most of them are family.
Yeah.
So these are children who have been raised, because I think, the leader of this and the parents, I think they are truly bigoted, terrible people. But the children who are raised in this, I think, are operating in full survival mode and fear, like true fear, and not of their parents. I think like the even Megan Roper, who we'll talk about later, but is the girl who left and talks about it now. She's like, what's so hard about this is that my family, it was a very loving home.
Yeah.
Like, my mom loved us. She was very kind to us. We played video games. We watched movies. We went on vacation. Like, we had a wonderful time. But then it's like the contrast between that and like how terrible everything we're doing is made it even more difficult, because it's like, it's, easier to leave if you're like, well, everyone here sucks anyways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, I love my family. And even when I watched the documentary with Louis Theron, I can never figure out how to say his name, from BBC, they're not mean to him.
Yeah.
They're just very straight up. They're like, well, you're going to rot in hell, and we're warning you. So, like, but they have him in their home. Not that they shouldn't get an award for that, but it's like, they're not angry at you. They are all operating in a place of true fear, where they're like, we are going to burn in hell.
Yeah.
And we're so scared of that. Like, that since I can't even imagine, and I'm sure a lot of people have had this, but since you can process any information, all you're pretty much being told is, if you do these things, you will burn for eternity.
Yeah.
And you will be on this earth for such a small moment of time, and the rest of it you will just be living in true pain and excruciating flames and fire and Satan. I don't know. So I think it's just very scary.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's where most of these people are just like, when they've been raised that way, are just truly terrified.
Oh, no, yeah. I know exactly that feeling.
Yeah.
Like the burning in hell and the homophobia, the religious trauma. Like, it is like a really like overwhelming like feeling. So I can understand. But I think it's interesting, like, how they're very matter-of-fact about it. Because, like, with a lot of Christian denominations, there is, like, a vitriol. But, like, if you're describing, like, I mean, at the protests, there is a lot of, like, anger and stuff.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're matter-of-fact, it means, like, it's just a fact to them, you know? Which
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, you're good.
Yeah, they're in the documentary, too, there's a part where one of the teenagers is talking. And she's explaining it like, we are courteous. Like, we're doing a very courteous and loving thing. We are not angry at anyone. We love every single person. And we are so courteous and kind. We're warning them. We're dedicating our lives to telling them, like, if you don't basically join our church, you're going to burn in hell.
Yeah.
And they hate us for it. And people just are so mean to us. And they bully us. And I think they're kind of mapping it onto God, where they're like, we've been crucified on this earth, and we're just trying to love everyone and tell them. And I think it is just obviously it's very misguided and wrong, but I do think they just are they're just like repeating what they've heard. They speak, it's just supposed to be so weird to like speak in sentences you've memorized.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
All you do is speak in sentences you've memorized over and over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can hear when she's saying it, when she's like, we're doing something courteous and loving. Like, you can almost hear her mom saying it, or you're like, I know you're just repeating something your mom said.
Yeah.
Very weird.
No, yeah. I mean, like, when you're trying to influence others, like there's fear and then there's like hope. But like if you're like a dictator and you choose between like fear and hope, that you have all the control. But since they are so small, the only thing that would make logical sense is like to them is like scaring the crap out of people.
Yeah.
Because that would like really get their message across. They're very like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense why nothing that they're doing. Well, actually, it does make sense if you break it down.
We join after this?
No, I mean like brainwashing, like how that makes sense. But like, so, I mean, the trajectory in which they've gone does map out with brainwashing and a cult.
Yeah, I mean, there's a sorry, and then we'll move on. I know I'm talking so much, but there's like a clip online of Louise Theron. That's like not. I'm saying it like Charlize Theron, which is different. Louis Theron. I don't know. Anyways, he's at the picket line with them, and he's like interviewing all of them. And he's like, I noticed how young some of these kids are. They're like holding signs that say really inappropriate things. One of them is like 4 and is holding a sign that has 2 stick figures basically like doing anal.
Yeah.
And it says like, God hates gay people or whatever. And he's holding the sign. And so he starts talking to these kids. And one of the little girl who's like 4, he's like, do you know what this sign means? And she's like, no, I have no idea what this means.
Yeah.
And then the 6-year-old is kind of like, I know what it means. And he doesn't clearly. And he's like, God hates gays. And he's like, okay, but what does that mean? And then the mom kind of like jumps in and is like, like what makes someone go to hell besides being gay? Like explain the sign. And he just like cannot. He's like, soldiers, God, this life is grass. Like he's just saying like words. And this makes me laugh. It's not ultimately funny, but it always makes me laugh when I watch this clip. She goes, so if someone's not gay, but they are basically an abomination and they're a sinner, what does that make them? Yeah. And he's like 6 and he goes, a dyke? And it really makes me laugh because it's just so great. He has no idea what's happening. Yeah. And I'm like, how sad for this child to be so confused. Like, what his life must be. He's like, every day we wake up and we go and scream these words that I don't even know what they mean. Yeah. So devastating. And it's like a full-time job. They're getting up at 5 a.m. and picketing until late that day. Yeah. All the time. It's just what a confusing way to grow up. And I think like whenever I feel upset about my learning disability, where I'm like, oh, where could I have been if I like had been medicated, or what could I have done if I could have read a book or whatever. I always do try to remember that like every single person though has something that like held them back in that way. And especially when it comes to education, I'm like, there's such a huge, massive population of people around the world that are not even allowed access to any normal education. And more than that, are like, I just didn't know anything. Some people are taught information that just isn't true for their entire life. And so that sometimes I'm like, it all sucks. It's hard.
It does. It's being indoctrinated into a cult is devastating, much like a learning disability when you're not given accommodations. Yeah. But so we're going to talk about, but everything you said does make sense. And I like, as someone who's like religiously traumatized, you're explaining it to our audience. I'm like, yeah.
I'm not telling you. I know you know more than I do about religion.
The only thing I have to like say is like, yeah, dude, it's crazy what they'll teach a 6-year-old. But
I think sometimes it's important because it's like, I think it's so easy. Like I was having a long kind of chat with my girlfriend about this the other day where I was just like, we can't just say everyone who's conservative is stupid. Like I think it's so easy to say.
I don't think everyone who is conservative is like intellectually stupid.
That's what I mean. I think they're wrong. I think they are. I think some of them are mean. I think some of them are bullies. I think some of them are selfish. And most of the time I think money hungry. I think it's like that stuff is so much more easily like, I think that stuff is so much more accurate than just everyone's stupid. They're all stupid. And I think with this, it's like, and maybe it doesn't really matter because it's just like, I don't need to give them the proper label. Yeah. But I think it's just not accurate. And I think sometimes like this, it's like, if you're told this from a young age, how are you going? I mean, it takes a magnificent person to break out of that. Yeah. And even you see like Megan Phelps Roper broke out of it She was 27 when she did.
Mm-hmm.
But now she's doing these TED Talks and speeches. She's clearly very smart, clearly very kind, clearly, you know, very apologetic and like very empathetic.
Yeah.
That all existed before. She was just so brainwashed. And so I think sometimes it's important because I think you see with all the weird conspiracies happening now, it's like, it's dangerous. Brainwashing is really dangerous. And not just to like idiots, like two people. Like, it's dangerous. You have to like be careful, you know?
No, exactly. Even if you're too ironic, like you're eventually going to believe the ironic thing you tell yourself.
Yeah.
Like, so if you love like ironic humor, that's how the alt-right pipeline starts. I'm not saying everyone who loves, because I love irony, but like you just have to be aware like of how you can brainwash yourself or be brainwashed by others.
Totally.
So I'm going to talk about what they believe, because it does seem kind of confusing. They believe in a theology of predestination, which includes believing all disasters and catastrophes come from the hand of God. Members follow the organization's literal interpretation of the Bible, which informs their attitude towards homosexuality and towards Judaism. The church claims that its theology was based on a strict interpretation of Calvinist principles, and they believe in limited atonement, unconditional election, and the double predestination of both the saved and the damned, which can weigh heavily on members as well as those who leave the church. So limited atonement is the quote elect are atoned for with Jesus Christ's sacrifice. Election in Christianity involves God choosing a particular person or group of people to a particular task, especially eternal life. And unconditional election, God does not foresee an action or condition on our part that includes him to save us. Rather, election rests on God's sovereign decision to save whoever he is pleased to save. Double predestination is God predestined some people to be saved and others to be damned. So this is actually where this does not make sense. So their fear when they protest, people are going to hell, like gay people are going to hell. They themselves believe that there are people who are predestined to go to heaven and predestined to go to hell, and God has designated them in that way. So why even protest?
Yeah.
You know, so like, if some people cannot be saved, why are you even protesting the people who you have deemed that cannot be saved? Would you not just grab a bullhorn and go on a pier somewhere? Like, because if you want to save yourself on travel costs, don't protest a funeral for someone who died of HIV or AIDS, because in your literal interpretation of the Calvinist principles, this person and likely their friends, if their friends support gay people, we're never going to go to heaven in the first place. So you're just adding insult to injury, and more than that, it like doesn't make sense, you know? So go find the people that are predestined to go to heaven instead of focusing on the people who are predestined in your mind to go to hell. You know?
Yeah.
Which I don't understand.
It's insane. And I also, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like when I was in like church group when I was in middle school, they also taught that, and it never made sense to me. Mm-hmm. Where I was like, then what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, what is all of the point of all of this?
Yeah.
So that is a part of like not just this, but like a wider Christian viewpoint.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, that is insane. It's kind of like when I found out that priests are at hospitals, so right before you die, you can be like, save me. And then I was like, okay, great, I'll just do that then. I guess there's a chance I don't die in a hospital, of course, but like, that feels like, what is the point? You were like, if you worked your whole life, you dedicated your life to serving God and Christianity.
Yeah.
And then you die in a hospital and have a priest save you before you die. It's like, couldn't you have just skipped all of that? Mm-hmm. Oh, man, I don't have the motivation for that. Oh man, that is wild.
It's a very like one-dimensional or two-dimensional way of thinking, where like as soon as like it very, like we always say, low emotional intelligence, where you physically like cannot examine your insides from another perspective. Empathy is very hard for you. So actually, a lot of this does make sense for people who are unable to examine two things at once, you know? Yeah. But I mean, so it doesn't make sense to anyone else. But Westboro Baptist Church, primitive Baptist practices include their style of worship, approach to church discipline, and seeing themselves as from a separatist, anti-establishment lineage. Primitive Baptists are a subset of the Calvinistic Baptist tradition. The adjective primitive in the name is used in the sense of original. So, they were founded in 1955, but in 2005 they started protesting against gay people since 1989, and in 2005 they picketed funerals of U.S. soldiers killed in Iraq and Afghanistan, carrying such signs as "Thank God for dead soldiers," "God hates the U.S." A 2006 act of Congress called the Respect for America's Fallen Heroes Act was created primarily due to Westboro Baptist Church. It placed restrictions on protests at some cemeteries. So, what the hell is the point of protesting the soldiers killed?
Are you asking?
Yeah. Were they gay soldiers?
No, that's my point. It's not just like gay people. Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't. But they're thought that they have signs that say, like, "Thank God for 9/11." They have insane signs. Their signs are nuts. But it's like, if you, it doesn't make, logically that doesn't make sense. They're thought that, like, every bad thing that kills a lot of people is because God sent his wrath. Like, statistically, that doesn't even make any sense. Well, I guess God's all-knowing, but how would he know that? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Then why did this not happen? Why is Earth not constantly just like on fire? If everyone besides the Westboro Baptist Church is a sinner, why are there no, and I guess their fear is that over time it will just become a burning hellhole of natural disasters, but it doesn't really make sense. But I do agree that you shouldn't kill people and that no one should be able to kill people and there should be no guns. So I agree with that.
What about their social media?
Yeah, let me find it. Sorry. So they have a very active presence on social media. I think this is kind of why they've become as intensely known as they are, because I do think it's important to say that they're not alone in their beliefs. This is like not. Yeah. I think it's really, people love to be like, they're weird. No one else is like them. But it's like there are a lot of groups around the country. Yeah. Almost identical to them. But they're very present and with it when it comes to social media. The Westboro Baptist Church is currently active on Gab and Truth Social, where they announce upcoming pickets. They seem to have a Twitter, but it's not currently active and only has 34 tweets. The account posted religious memes when it was active. In 2015, the Twitter account of Westboro Baptist Church and Shirley Phelps Roper were both suspended by Twitter. Shirley Phelps Roper is like the mom of 11 kids, who's the daughter of the main guy. The accounts may have been suspended because the Westboro Baptist Church had picketed Twitter's headquarters in 2014. Other Westboro Baptist Church accounts like WBC Signs and WBC Says Repent have since been suspended from Twitter as well. I thought this was interesting. Canada and the United Kingdom have barred church members from entering their countries.
If it's based out of Kansas, it's probably, they don't really have any international chapters. Well, probably at the time. But that is crazy. So we're going to talk about the former church members. Several Phelps family members have left the church and become activists against it. Since 2004, over 20 members of the WBC, and mostly family members, have left the organization and the Phelps family. Several former members have accused them of brainwashing and abusive behavior. And then several Phelps family members, including Nathan Phelps and Megan Phelps Roper, have left the church and become activists against it. And Megan stated, ex-members are seen as the worst of the worst, even worse than gay people or Jewish people or anybody else that the church considers sinners. So this is actually just standard cult protocol. You're not supposed to leave. That's just another method of control. The person who leaves is shit talked. And think about an abusive family household. If someone leaves, everyone is oh, let's talk shit about that person. Yeah. But realistically, and so that prevents the other people stuck from leaving. So yeah, this is just straight up a cult.
And so fear-based, too. I listened to Megan. She did, a speech a while ago that was, at a college or a conference or something. And she was talking about the moment that she really questioned everything. Yeah. And, had that thought of, wait, is this not real? Is everything my parents have made me believe not real? Everything that I've based my entire life around not real? And she was like, it was such a terrible moment because I realized there were really only two options and both were bad, which is one that nothing I've dedicated my life to means anything. And in fact, it's all very like negative. Like I've caused so much harm for no reason. And I've just been lied to and brainwashed. And she was like, or, and possibly even worse, is that they're right. And I have just questioned it in my head. And so at this point, it doesn't even matter what I do because God already is sending me to hell. Like the fact that I'm questioning this.
Yeah.
And she is like good enough to go to hell. I might as well be having gay sex right now because I'm questioning this theology. And it's like, that is not similar. I think that is a huge difference between this church and like, you know, good old regular Christianity, because it's like, I think questioning is a huge part of like religion. I think that maybe you would know better than I, but I feel like sometimes in church, parents are like, we encourage you to question so we can all talk about it and answer questions. But I think here it's like, well, if you question it, there's just no thinking. Don't do any thinking, because thinking leads to sinning, because thinking is sinning, basically, which is really scary and very culty. Yeah,
there's like different denominations and then like different intensities of those denominations, where like Southern Baptist is different from just Baptist, where it's a bit more intense, a bit less questioning. Also, you have to see like if it's just like questioning is advised in like most denominations, but when it crosses over into like cult, that's when you don't really question.
And I think when you start to care less about, which I don't know, I don't think they follow under this umbrella, but I think like you said Southern Baptist. Like my dad was Southern Baptist, and I think it's like there was so much less talk about God and so much more talk about the church, quote unquote. And like, oh, if someone has an affair, obviously God knows that's happened. If God is real, he would know that happened. But they pretend to stay together because the church can't find out they had an affair. The church can't find out they're getting a divorce. Oh, the pastor's daughter is pregnant. Obviously, God knows that, but that's fine. But the church cannot find out you're pregnant. Like, we have to put that baby up for adoption before the church even knows that and it's all about the church. And I'm like, when it becomes about the people in this church, that's just a cult.
Yeah. So there's like, I mean, it really is on an individual, like, church basis. It's whether the leaders of the church want fear-based control, which is very attractive to a lot of people who have, like, the personality traits. Or if the leaders of the church genuinely want people to follow Christ and his teachings and be more, like, good. So it depends on, and what sucks throughout history is that if it's telling people what to do or what not to do, and I mean, most people who run for like political positions are most likely a horrible person, because I mean, no normal person thinks that they can dictate how other people's other people live. So to like think that you should or represent that's usually politicians are, and that's the same goes through to people leading churches and cults.
Yes, me and my girlfriend were just talking about this the other day. We were like, can you be, no matter what you believe, can you be high up in politics and like be a good person?
I think if you're type A, then yes. No, like I think someone who is type A and loves organization could absolutely be in politics, but then there's a large majority are not. They just want to have power.
But to be high up, because to me, I'm like, there's so many things you can do, like local government. To me, that's great. Like people who are in local government, it feels like you're like, I care about my community. I want to help fix it, or to a certain degree. Yeah. So many volunteering things you could do politically. So if you want to be involved in politics, that's great. But someone who gets to the level of like running for president, can you get there and be a person who's like ethical and not just someone who needs a lot of power and attention and wants to be at the top? Like, you have to have a part of you that really has this grind to be like, I want to be number one. I want to be president. It's like, what is that?
Yeah.
Chill out.
I think there are a lot of different types of people in the world. No, not everyone is inherently good or bad, because that does reflect Christian beliefs. But like, I think a lot of people are drawn to the power of it. And also, speaking to like ethics, there's a difference between morality and ethics. And so you can be morally just and pursue and do unethical stuff.
Yeah.
Because I mean a lot of things are give and take in politics, where like if you want to achieve something, you've got to take a step back.
100%.
I mean, there's obviously like the Supreme Court, so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
That are we really a democracy if those people are chosen and they don't even represent the people? But like, I mean, with the House and everything is like split usually 50-50. So there are some things that are like give and take.
You got to pick your battles sometimes.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I think too, but no politician is like perfect.
No. Well, but I agree with you.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
And I think you shouldn't like think of them as your friends, and like obviously trust with discretion. But like I think that some politicians, can be good in positions of power. They're like 90% good.
Yeah. I think like the main importance is to not think of them as like I feel like sometimes. Like, I love AOC. But sometimes people will be like, she's our icon. I'm like, don't call a politician an icon. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're working for you.
She's a public servant.
She's, like, literally working for you. Like, you need to, not in a way of, like, she needs to do what I say. But, like, she is there to, like, help you. I think it just gets very dangerous. I mean, we see it with Trump right now. But, like, people, he's not even, like, running for, there's been Trump rallies in my hometown every Saturday since 2016. I mean, when Trump is not even running for president, when Trump's like, nothing's even happening politically, like it's middle of 2021. Like, it's just like insane.
Yeah.
It's like, because you made this man a celebrity rather than like, this is a political, like, government thing. This is not like a concert. I don't know. But I think it's important because I think people do that with any type of people. Anyways, but yeah, they're people who want to be in power.
Yeah.
Like a church I went to in North Carolina, I was 4, so this did not affect me. But he said that if you didn't vote for George Bush, you were going to hell.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a cult.
He should have gotten his tax exemption removed.
Yeah.
This is just every person listening. If you see a church that has something politically motivated on the signage or inside the church, you can get their tax exemption removed if you record it and report it. So
that's a good tip.
They will have to pay taxes if there's any sort of political campaigning.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm going on a search day. I'm going to get my car and go to all the churches in Los Angeles.
That's for my friends in the Deep South. See anything with Trump on it outside the church. But, okay, so who is Mark Phelps?
So Mark Phelps, he's a estranged son of the Westboro Baptist Church founder Fred Phelps. He left the organization in 1973. Okay, an OG. And Mark began formally healing and therapy in 1988 and worked towards healing and restoration, overcoming the horrible pain and fear from the 19 years of living with his father. In 1994, Mark was rebaptized in a local church. He stated, "If I had to take my family to court and convict them of being followers of Christ, I'm not sure where I would find the evidence." Now, that's a burn if I've ever heard it.
Yeah.
There's also Zach Phelps Roper. He is the grandson of Fred Phelps and the 4th sibling of the Phelps Roper family to leave the Westboro Baptist Church. And after attempting to leave the organization 5 times previously, he finally left in 2014. He now preaches about a life of empathy and unconditional love. Danielle Phelps, granddaughter of Fred Phelps, left the church in 2014. She is openly gay. I went to her TikTok and watched a couple videos and joined the U.S. Marine Corps after leaving the church. She often posts about her church experience and her post-Westboro Baptist Church life on TikTok. And one of her videos went viral. And the video, she encounters her family at a picket. And she's like, I haven't seen them in like a decade. And this is the first time I'm seeing them.
Yeah.
Devastating. There's also Nathan Phelps. Sorry, you can, if you want to read about Nathan.
Oh, no, that just makes me like sad.
Yeah, it's really sad. And they never speak to them. You're done. I mean, they never speak to them again. They don't, you leave. And there's like a clip in one of the documentaries. The mom, Shirley, is like really, have you seen clips of her?
Yeah.
She's very stone cold. She's intense. She's very intense. But there's like one clip of her crying. And because he like asks her about one of her kids that left. And she immediately is kind of like, I don't want to talk about that. And gets very kind of like upset. And I think it is just, it's like, it's sad for everyone, And I think honestly, Fred, is that his name? The original guy who started it. He's like a narcissist, you know? And then it's just like the generations it can take for people to get out of one narcissist is so intense, where you see this woman who is terrible. I'm not saying this woman is a victim in any capacity, but like there's no denying that her dad is nuts. Yeah. And then now she has 11 kids who she's trying to do what's right. Yeah. And she is terribly wrong. And I think part of me thinks she knows that. Like some parts of this I watch, I think half of them know that's wrong. Yeah. But the thought of like saying that and like giving up, it's kind of like when I will write a pilot and I'll write like 15 pages and then I realize I like want to do something like a different idea or want to change something, and I'm like, is it easier to just like finish this and be like, whatever, this kind of sucks, it's not exactly what I wanted, but I didn't have to like start over. I think it's like the same feeling, but obviously a million times worse. Yeah. Where you're just like, I think a lot of them are just like, it's so much easier to just pretend I still believe this because I cannot deal with what comes after real life. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. Where I do feel a lot of sympathy with my mom is like, she's like frozen in time. Like, you know, people are like, if you could go back in time and tell your like little self something, I would go back in time and tell my mom something. I distinctly remember when she told me one time that it was like her dad stopped loving her when she turned 13. Because, like, she became, like, a teenager and went through, like, puberty. And, like, everything that she did beyond that was to make him proud. And it just, like, he did not respond. And so while she did make my life, like, hell, I do understand, like, what she's stuck in time. Like, and that's why, like, a lot of her reasoning is so simple. Like, it's black or white. Like, it's like, this is either good or bad, because you would find that logic in, like, a child.
A 13-year-old, yeah.
And so, like, I do feel, like, as much as this lady is a piece of shit, like, it sucks, because I know what point she's frozen at. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And that's awful. Like, but then again, it explains something. It doesn't excuse it. But it's
that's exactly what it is. It's not an excuse. It's just an explanation. I think that it's like not wrong to make an explanation for it. It's like, of course, there's reasons that these people are doing this. Yeah. This is a wild thing to do. They don't work and they just yell at gay people all day for their entire lives.
Can I tell you like something that's not quite related to this, but like does relate to like the narcissist thing? So I was trying to think about like good moments that I had with my mom, and something that's really crazy to see happen is my mom is like a military lady. She has had short hair. She's growing it out now. But like she was talking like one day, like growing up, the reason why she's never had long hair, well, she did. And this one hairdresser when she was a kid told her that she looked ugly with long hair. Yeah. And so from that point out, she never grew out her hair again. And her mom really didn't do makeup, so she never learned how to like do like beauty care, like beauty routines. And so when I really got into makeup, like the good moments I have with my mom is like when she would need her makeup done. Yeah. And it was kind of crazy. Like I would give her like a facial and I would like do her hair and do her makeup. And for like a brief second, she would like ask me questions and be like genuinely interested with what I was saying. So, like, I always look forward to, like, my mom needing something with beauty. Yeah. But then it was always crazy because right after I'd finish her makeup, it's like you would see her shut off. Yeah. And, like, that part of her just, like, got tucked away. Yeah. And so I kind of, like, think about, you know how you said in the beginning, like, she's like a mom and there like is a lot of love, and then just like it must be, I mean, I can understand like what the shut off looks like. Yeah. And so, but for it to be that extreme, to go from like a loving mom to like then just outside with like a God hates gays sign. Yes. That must be so absolutely jarring.
Right. I mean, yes, exactly. Where it's like, what is this? I'm like, and I'm only going by what Megan said. Yeah. So I'm not like, they had a perfect childhood. I don't know what it was like in their house. I'm sure there were traumatizing things happening. I'm not like, they had a perfect childhood and the mom was a perfect mom besides the fact that she had gay people. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But this is just what she was like, it was a loving home, my mom. But the fact that, I mean, even like the thought of me calling my mom and being like, oh, I'm not like, I'm trying to think of something my mom would care about. I'd be like, I'm not going to watch this season of Queer Eye. Yeah. That to me is like the same level. She'd be like, the thought of her, everything we've been through, how much she loves me, how sweet she is, and then her just being like, okay, bye. Yeah. And then like never talking to me again. Yeah. And it's impossible to assume that that woman just doesn't care about her kids anymore, because that is like unnatural. That's
Yeah.
like truly unnatural.
Well, actually,
Unless she's a full narcissist, but there's no way everyone in this church is a clinical narcissist.
well, I mean, like narcissists can be made. So if you have
Raised by narcissists.
yeah,
Right,
like so if you're raised by one, it's like you're either that or like going to be some form of heavily codependent. And so I imagine that would be incredibly damaging. Like where, I mean, it's damaging to like be treated like crap growing up, but then I can't even imagine receiving consistent love and then just being cut off from it for something that you cannot change.
Right.
And so like that's what these people like went through to like be so loved. Like, cause I can understand not being loved, but I can't understand. I don't even know, like if your mom one day were to text you, I don't love you anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean like, so what would that feel like? That would feel horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, it would feel, well, I think more than anything, it would just be so, I mean, it'd be obviously devastating emotionally, but I think more than anything, it just changes your perspective on everything. I think then if like my partner, Jordan, who I know loves me,
Yeah.
was like, I love you unconditionally, I'd be like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means
Yeah.
anymore, because I like, supposedly you could just text me tomorrow and say, no, I don't. And
Yeah.
it's like, you've taken what that means and just kind of like thrown it
Yeah.
in the trash, basically. So I think more than anything, it's just like having that experience will forever affect the way you view, like your trust in
Yeah.
people and your, all of that. So I think it's like really, truly terrible. So I think, it's very, very sad.
There
Very
are
sad.
some notable protests that we'd like. Sorry, we just got deep for a second. Well, I mean, everything has been deep, but there's some notable protests. They are very dark, so I apologize. We got Matthew Shepard. The church first attracted attention throughout the U.S. in October of 1998 when it picketed the funeral of Matthew Shepard, a gay college student from Wyoming whose murder was widely condemned as a hate crime. So it's a lot of protesting gay people's funerals, which just is, I mean, in itself horrible, but also it doesn't make sense why you would protest on people who your God has already deemed like not going to heaven.
Yes, and also the Matthew Shepard specifically, it's like a hate crime.
Yeah.
Like that to me,
Someone
wouldn't you
killed.
go, right, someone killed him. So why wouldn't you go protest the people who did that?
Yeah.
Because then what's it? So I think in that way, they're much more maybe picky and choosy than even maybe we realize. Because I think it's easy to be like, well, they just hate everybody. But it's like, well, clearly they made a choice in that moment to protest one of those people.
Yeah.
A person who did nothing wrong. I mean, obviously, we clearly don't approve of hate crimes on this podcast, but clearly did nothing wrong. And two people murdered him.
Yeah,
or like 2 or 3. I don't remember how many people it was.
Yeah,
but.
if you're willing to protest like and say like 9/11 was well deserved, or like so you'd be protesting the murderer.
Right.
Yeah, because they're the person who can still be affected by the protests.
Yeah.
Because they're still living.
Yeah.
So like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. I guess to them maybe they'd say, well, we're protesting people celebrating this person. So maybe if there was a celebration of the people who did the hate crime, they would also do that. But I have a hard time believing that, because then why aren't they protesting every single like celebration of anyone? They're not going to birthday parties and like protesting people who are being celebrated. So it doesn't. So I think that's interesting and kind of not. Pretty terrible. They protest. I mean, they like think 9/11 was great. They also protested the 2008 Sichuan earthquake. On May 14th, 2008, 2 days after the earthquake, which claimed the lives of at least 70,000 people. That makes me want to throw up. So they, they did a protest. The Westboro Baptist Church issued a press release thanking God for the heavy loss of life in China. I mean, it's just terrible. It's Sandy Hook, Boston Marathon. I mean, they went to all these things and celebrated.
Nightclub. This is just crazy.
And so imagine you're 5. And your life is doing this. Like, this is your life is going to these things. And the lack of understanding. I mean, you're watching your parents, like, course I still love my parents, but like the way I looked at them when I was 5 was like they were, I mean, everyone has this.
Yeah,
it's like they're the smartest on earth. They're the smartest people. They know everything. I still think in some ways my mom knows everything, but my dad, love him more than anything. He certainly was not famously someone who knew everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, these are the 2 smartest people on earth. They would never do anything wrong. So the confusion of like being at a protest of events that are this upsetting.
Yeah.
Having people, people are already, of course, high emotions. Like they're grieving their loved ones and their family. Probably going up, sobbing, yelling at these people, and to watch your mom like argue with people who are crying about these topics. And this is how you're like trying to take in what life is and like how things work and function is so like really disturbing.
Yeah.
But I think it is just like important to say, because I think a lot of people in the US and everywhere deal with this on probably a smaller scale, but like something like this, who are really in the religious, in the Bible Belt, in all of that.
I think a lot of people are, what pisses me off is that a lot of people not raised in like abusive homes or like traumatizing homes are always like, how come you didn't know any better? And like, or how come you didn't just, and it's like, you truly don't understand. I actually would say if you're willing to make assertions like that, you probably don't even understand mental illness. But like, if you think about like Stockholm syndrome, those aren't even, that doesn't even have to be a family member. That could just be someone who has been kidnapped, who's a full-grown adult. And, people have left the doors wide open. And it's actually like, it would be like, show how stupid on your part you would be if you're like, well, why didn't they just like run? Or like whenever there's like a woman who's in an abusive situation, and there's people who get more mad at the woman for like, why didn't you leave? And it's like, if we can recognize like, the power of like that these people hold over you and like fear, or like financial control. It's crazy how people can really just fuck you up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what I think is like, now you see Megan Phelps-Roper talking, and she's clearly so smart and so intelligent.
Yeah.
And there's a clip in the documentary that always makes me really sad, because it's a clip of her crying because she's talking about, I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
There's also a funny line in it, because she's talking about this guy who she met, who she does not say this by any means, but you can tell she had a crush on. Like she was like, and I think to her, she's so much older in this. Like she's probably like 25 to be having like her first love. But the way she talks about it, you can tell it's kind of like a first love for her. Like I don't even know if that guy thought they were dating, but she clearly was like, I have a lot of feelings for this person. And basically had to stop talking to him because he was not going to be in the Westboro Baptist Church. And like they stopped talking, and she was like crying. She's like crying about it. And the interviewer's like, why did you have to like, and she starts crying. And he's like, well, why are you crying? And she's like, because it's really sad. Like, it's so sad that his parents raised him that way. And she's just saying all these things besides like, because I'm in love with him and I'm crying because I'm sad. And then the aunt or whoever is sitting next to her is like, well, they had to stop talking because he would murder her. And she was like, yeah, he would murder me. Yeah. And the guy's, of course, like, this is crazy. Well, the part that makes me laugh is he goes, you said this guy's a documentary filmmaker? Yeah. Which always makes, because he's just like, this is such a normal, like, student, like, film student, like, not whatever. But they taught them that, like, if you're willing to be gay. Yeah. And once again, they say this, like, to them, the definition of gay is anyone who
takes it up the
ass or supports taking up the ass. Yeah. So, like, my mom, not gay, by their terms, is gay because she supports me and I'm gay. Or, like, she watches Queer Eye and they're gay, clearly. And she was like, if you're willing to do that, I guess kind of on the lines of a sin is a sin is a sin. Yeah. There's no stopping you from murdering. Yeah. So now they've taught their kids that anyone in the outside world who is not in their church could murder you if you're left alone with them. And I think it's almost an insane, like the most manipulative thing, because I think my instinct when first learning about them was like, oh, it's like at least good they let their kids go to public school. Yeah. Like at least they let their kids out into the world. Like a lot of religious people do not. Yeah. They just are like, stay in this bubble and you'll never, a lot of more kids who are Mormon are homeschooled and then go to BYU or like, and so they never see outside of it. But it almost feels like it's kind of like when you're, sorry, this is kind of long, but when you're like a kid and your mom won't let you have any sweets.
Yeah.
And so then when you go to college, you like binge eat a lot.
Yeah.
Versus like, maybe you struggle with eating habits versus someone whose parents kind of let them eat whatever and give them a more balanced, quote unquote, life. They probably have better eating habits and maybe never did that binge. It kind of feels like letting them go to public school is this kind of like, we're going to let you go and see these people. But the whole time we're feeding you information that these people not only are like going to rot in hell and are stupid and just don't know how anything works, but also they are, they could murder you.
Yeah.
And because of that, and one of the girls talks about this in the documentary, because of that, they're incredibly left out in school and ostracized because nobody wants to hang out with that person. Like in first grade, if a kid was walking around being like, you're all damned to hell, I'd be like, you're weird. Okay, bye. Yeah. And so now they're out in the real world and they're experiencing people be mean to them. Yeah. And they're experiencing people like not play with them as things that matter to like a 6-year-old. Like, you don't want to play with me because of what I believe, and you don't want to do this because of me. And so then they're like, oh, they're mean. They're murderers and they're mean and they're going to rot in hell. And that's almost more powerful. It's like almost more manipulative where it's like, you've been out there. So there's nothing you need to go. You don't need to be curious and go out and see it. You see it every day. You go to school, you go to college, but you think for yourself that it's scary.
I would say it's less manipulative. I would say, it's scary because most like dictators or cults, you have to isolate someone. Actually, just a narcissistic abuse. You get someone away from their family, their friends, you make them alone. So like, not saying Mormonism, but like if there's a control is the ultimate factor in your religion, you're going to isolate them as much as possible. What's scary about this for me is that letting them go to public school and do things shows that it's not for the main purpose of control. They genuinely believe, like, it kind of reminds me of, like, neurodivergency versus neurotypicals, where, like, a lot of, like, neurotypical people, like, there is subtext to what they're saying. Like, but, like, these people, very literal interpretation of the Bible. So they're doing it literally because that's what they believe, you know? They truly believe that gay people are going to hell. Yeah. Like, it's not like some, like, you know, I don't really support the gays, but, like, I love the way they dress. But, like, it's like, so they're not trying to isolate the kids, which means, like, it's a genuine, instilled, not, like, there's no subtext to it. Yeah. It's like just something that's been passed along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but I think there is an interesting, and maybe not more or less manipulative, but just like usually parents who like homeschool, sorry, I'm spinning because I'm trying to itch my ankle. Usually parents who homeschool their kids tend to be like, oh, I want to go out and see things. Yeah. I've never seen these things before. So the parents are the ones isolating them. Yeah. Whereas the way it seems like these children were made to feel is that their parents aren't isolating them. All the bad people in the world is isolating them because they're given these opportunities to go to school, and those people are pushing them out because of the way their parents have taught them to communicate and talk to people and what they're allowed to and not allowed to do. And so it almost makes them be like, yes, the world is bad, and it instills them more like, oh, this isn't just what my parents told me. I really believe this. I'm seeing it with my own eyes almost. Like, I'm seeing how bad people in this world can be. And obviously, this is just from a perspective of like a 6-year-old, you know, of like, oh, my mom said these people were bad, and now they don't want to hang out with me. Yeah. So they are bad. Like, they are bad people. It's really, really scary. Yeah. It's scary. But I always thought it was interesting. They all go to school. They all go to college. Women and men both. Like, they all go to school. Yeah. And they still, how deep-rooted it has to be. For you to go to a public college and you take like any class. You take any class and you leave those classes still believing what you believe. Yeah. How deep that has to go. Very, very disturbing.
It is, but I think we have a guest in the studio who has protested a Westboro Baptist protest.
Yes, if you could believe it, my mom wanted to come for this episode. My mom's here. She wants to talk about it. Yeah. Just to end it on a little lighter note, because she's very pro-LGBT. So if you're gay, my mom is very excited to talk to you.
She's just jazzed. But
she hates the Westboro Baptist Church. She went to high school with one of the women who's in the Westboro Baptist Church.
Oh,
so she is very fired up, and she heard we were doing this episode. She said, please let me do it.
Well, I'm excited to hear her talk, and we will be right back.
All right.
Hi there, and welcome back to the BCC Club.
Yay!
I am joined by Darla, Kendahl's mother.
Hello. Thank you again for having me, Sarah.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
I love that I get to be in all the gay episodes.
Oh, we love it too.
I know I'm not gay, but I'm an ally.
I know. It's crazy that we can't find another gay in Hollywood.
No, because you know what? I'm the number one ally.
Yeah.
I am the number one ally. It'd be hard to find the number one gay, but very easy to find the number one ally because they're Kendahl's mom and they're right here.
Exactly. I just wanted to ask, you've protested against the Westboro Baptist Church. What did you say to them?
You know what? Oh, I'm going to get riled up just thinking about this. These losers, Sarah, that's what they are.
Yes.
They're losers. I saw them. I was at Trader Joe's. They were across the street protesting something. I walked over there and I said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You get out of here. I'm trying to get my soup dumplings from Trader Joe's. You're over here doing this garbage. And I said, grow up. Grow up. They're practically the only people keeping Staples in business. Every time I've been there, nobody's there, but that they buy so much poster board just to spread hate. And maybe if they spent more time, if they spent the same amount of time, I don't know, knitting hats for the homeless as they did making signs in their backyard.
Yeah.
Then every homeless person would have a hat.
That's true, and it's already so hard to navigate the Trader Joe's parking lot. The Westboro Baptist Church just camping out.
Exactly. It's just so rude. And they parked terribly.
Yeah.
I saw all their vans just diagonal.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
they probably don't have time to take a driving class, probably driving illegally because they are so busy being assholes, Sarah.
They have their own DMV.
Yeah. They're here. I'm not going to, you know what? I'm not even going to come for their looks because though I don't think their outfits are very flattering, just from a mom perspective.
Yeah.
I'm not even, because they have so much more you could just hate on because they're such losers. They are just, you know what? I could tell. I know I'm not gay, but I have gaydar. I not gay, but a gay person came out of my vagina, Sarah.
Yeah.
That probably honestly makes me almost gay. I made a gay person.
Yeah.
And so I have gaydar, and I can tell you probably 70% of those people were gay at the Westboro Baptist Church.
No, yeah, I can attest. I've had a gay person come in my vagina. So what is your least favorite thing about the Westboro Baptist Church?
Probably that there's so many things, Sarah.
Yeah.
But I would say that they have ruined a couple Lady Gaga songs for me.
Oh, gosh.
To be honest.
That's the worst thing? Or the least favorite thing?
It's probably my least favorite. I don't know if it's the worst, but it's up there because my daughter, Kendahl,
Yeah.
she hosts this podcast with you.
Yeah.
You know her.
Yes.
I know. You guys are so cute. She told me a couple years ago when she's in high school, she said, Lady Gaga's a gay icon. So I looked it up and I added her to my Spotify playlist.
Yes.
So I started hearing the songs, and I loved a couple of them. I loved Poker Face, and I loved Barn the Spade.
Yeah.
And there was a couple others that are less known that I really liked. And the Westboro Baptist Church ruined them. So now whenever I hear those songs, all that's going in my head is a bunch of slurs.
Oh, my God.
Towards gay people.
That is so...
Which is not who I am, but it's like I can't, when you get a song in your head.
Yeah.
And so now I got those songs in my head when my favorite Lady Gaga songs comes on. It's just so terrible. It just really makes me sick it makes me sick to my stomach, Sarah.
The slurification of Gaga.
That is really what it is. And it's just so terrible.
So I wanted to ask, have you ever been to a protest?
Yes, I've been to the Women's March. Well, that wasn't really a protest, I guess. No, sorry, that was a protest.
Yes.
Let me start that over. Yes, I've been to the Women's March every single year. I love the Women's March. I always make a really fun sign. I made a sign that had a picture of a gun.
Yeah.
And then it had a picture of my uterus.
Okay.
That I had taken on a x-ray. And it said,
oh, wow.
which one has killed more people?
Uh-huh.
That was my sign.
Which one has?
Again! But which one is more
regulated? Oh, okay.
My uterus. But it didn't work out as much as I wanted to because people were like, what is that second picture? I was like, that's an x-ray of my uterus, you idiot.
I also wouldn't have connected the points like that you're making a commentary on the regulation. Right. I would just think sitting on faces versus gun deaths.
Right. Well, so you know what? I haven't had as much sign experience as Westboro Baptist Church, so I'm still learning. But
Yes.
that was my first sign I had at the Women's March. And
Okay.
some people did like it, and some people got it.
I understand. So why is it so important to spread love and not hate?
Are you kidding me, Sarah?
No.
I think you know the answer to that. Because love is really all we have.
Yeah.
That's all we can really do.
Well,
There's
I mean,
no point,
there's a lot of hate in the world.
but there's no point for it. There's no need to have hate in this world,
Yeah.
especially for your children.
Yes.
That is just really where I draw the line as a mother, because why would you have hate for your children? They are going to be who they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So all you can do is accept them. And when you hate someone, even if there's something you want to share with them, if you lead with hate, they're not going to listen.
They won't.
So I don't think we should be listening to anything that the Westboro Baptist Church says, but if they did want me to listen, they're not on a good track because they're pissing me off.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to listen to someone who's being mean. So I just think spreading love is all we can do on our time here on earth.
Yes.
Spreading hate will only ever cause harm. And why would you want to cause harm? If you want to cause harm in the world, maybe you need to look inward, because maybe you really are have something going on with inside of you. That's what I always tell my girls, is that if someone's being mean to you, they're just jealous or they have something going on at home. I always tell them that.
Or they're deeply bigoted and raised in a cult.
That's exactly right.
But if you started a church, what would it look like?
It would be, oh my gosh, it would probably be JVN
Yeah.
and Neopet Harris
Oh, gosh.
and Karamo from Queer Eye, because I have a big fat crush on Karamo.
Yeah.
I have a big fat crush on Karamo. Have you seen Karamo?
Yes, I have.
He is a cutie patootie. I'm just like, he's so cute.
Yeah.
So probably just those three guys, and we would just kiss or something.
That would be your cult?
Just kiss, yeah. Kiss
What-
or hold hands if they'd have it.
Who would be the god in the situation?
I would be.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So they worship you.
There's no worshiping.
You
There's
just
no
greatly
worshiping.
appreciate
We
it?
just appreciate each other, and we're friends. I think I just want to hang out with them.
Yeah.
Maybe not a church. Maybe it's just my friend group.
Yeah.
Because my friend group right now I adore, but they're just normal women. And I don't want that anymore. I want famous friends.
Yeah, it's
I want famous friends. Famous hot guy friends.
So do you have any words for the homophobes watching this?
Screw you!
Mm-hmm.
Screw you, homophobes! Screw you, homophobes! You're losers.
Mm-hmm.
You are losers. And I wish I could stick my Women's March sign up your ass.
Yeah. It'll
And-
probably fit.
Yeah, and Chick-fil-A can suck a fat... Sorry. Suck a fat one. Yeah. Chick-fil-A can suck a fat one. And so can the Westboro Baptist Church. Homophobes are... I'm trying to think of a fun way to say it.
Uh-huh.
Homophobes are hoes. But in a bad way. So that's actually not a hole, because hoes are not bad, Sarah. Why would you make me say that?
No, I didn't make you say that, but thank you so much, Darla, for being on.
Of course. I just love being a part of the gay community as an ally. And I just am so proud of you and my daughter for having such a wonderful gay podcast for gay listeners and non-gay listeners to understand that gay people have things to say.
True.
And they have opinions about things.
You are
And they
so right.
deserve to say them.
Well, thank you for speaking on the gays. We really appreciate you. Are our biggest ally.
Can I say one last thing?
Yes.
I have been practicing this. My mama told me when I was young, we are all born superstars.
Yep.
I hold my head, put my lipstick on. I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track. Baby Sarah was born this way.
Thank you for that.
What did you think? Happy Pride in July. Pride in July.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Well, that was a breath of fresh air. Your mom is just so nice.
She's very energetic.
Yeah.
She's so excited. She's very excited to be here. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of or listening to this episode of the BCC Club. Oh yeah, hearts.
Yeah.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you listen to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure to rate and review. Only good reviews, please.
5 stars.
5 stars. Whenever someone gives a 4-star review on something, I'm always like, you're thinking way too much about this. Like, what is with this? Like, you'll see it all the time on Amazon. People will be like, 4 stars. It was an incredible product. I loved it a lot. Came a day late for delivery. I'm
Yeah.
just like, this is too much information. Like, this is such a specific scenario.
Well, actually, I only trust 4 and 2 stars.
Really interesting.
Because that's someone who refuses to take a hard stance. Because 3 is like, I don't trust. I mean, maybe, but like 5 or 1, like you're too excited, or you're too disappointed. You got to manage your expectations.
Well, whenever you read a 1-star review, I never trust a 1-star review. Whenever you read a 1-star review, it is always the most insane complaints. They're like, I ordered a desk, and when I got here, it was not put together. And then I tried to write on it, and I couldn't even think of anything to write.
Yeah.
And then I got fired from my job. And it's like true, and I'm not even exaggerating. These are how these, or when you go to a or if you go to a restaurant and it's 1-star reviews, they're always like, sometimes they're bad, but most of the time it's like, well, our waiter hardly spoke loudly at all. I couldn't really hear it. And yes, I have a hearing problem, but they should have thought about that and asked. And also, I didn't tell them I had an allergy, but they gave me something with peanuts in it. It's just always so nuts.
Yeah.
Or they'll be like, sorry, we're ending this, but they'll be like, it was a 30-minute wait, 1 star. I'm like, do you know how restaurants work? What's happening?
I always trust a 2-star review. 4-star is someone who's a whiner. 5-star is someone who's a liar. 3 stars is someone who can't make a solid decision. And 1-star is no. So 2-star is someone who can see the good in something
anything.
Bad.
Whereas 4-star, I think why I don't like 4 stars is because it feels like someone who cannot see the good in anything.
Yeah.
Where they're like, I loved this product. I racked my brain for something I didn't like about it, and I'm going to be sharing it with you now.
But don't give us 2 stars. Give us 5 stars.
Yeah, please. So only 2-star or 5 stars. If you don't like anything, just do 2.
No, 5 only, guys. I'm not even going to manifest that energy, but I got to pee. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Bye.
Bye.